Sorry guys, I was out because of some unexpected family problems, but I am back now. Do you guys even know what the Easter Bunny is? There's an old saying about it that every Sunday on Easter morning, there's this rabbit-like creature that brings candles, eggs, and toys for the kids. It's basically like a Santa Claus. If you are from the US, you already know what this is. So it is basically like a Santa Claus type of thing, but for Easter. Actually, my job is to provide information. Every horrific, filthy, and bottom of the barrel piece of shit thing that happens in our society today always has some kind of mystery or crime hidden behind it. And that is my job, to give you the information that the newspapers, since you know nobody reads these anymore, won't tell you, and that the TV won't show you, and that you won't usually find on the internet unless you dig deep and hunt for it. So actually my job is to bring all this filth and these goddamn curses right to you. If it makes sense to you, you can subscribe. If it doesn't, then don't. It is not necessary. So let's head back to today's case. A 36-year-old man walks into a suburban Pittsburgh mall on Monday afternoon. He approaches the Easter Bunny, the one posting for photos with kids and families. He grabs the woman inside the costume, then he walks next door to the movie theater, sits down in the top row of an auditorium and falls asleep. His name is Bera Shivakrishna. He's a 36-year-old, and when officers told him why they were there, he asked if it was a doll, explaining that if it was a woman, his hand must have touched her by mistake. Alright, just think about it yourself. How is this even possible? You shameless bastard. You're a grown man. Do you not have enough sense to know if that's a doll or if it's a real woman? You ass piece of. Where is your hand even going? These people whose lust is so out of control that they have to show it towards every girl, every chair, even donkey, even trees, every single thing they see, okay? I mean, yeah, these dolls, they exist, and some of them are very real, but that doesn't mean that whatever you see, you start putting your hands on it. These are real people. You are going to poke and prod while sitting right in the middle of everyone. You shameless junkies. This guy is absolutely playing me for a idiot. Okay, this happens on Monday 25th March 2026 at the South Hills Village Mall in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And that's why, boys and girls, I always tell you to stop watching news. It only covers 25% of the story. The real mix is always hidden into the back. South Hills Village isn't some forgotten strip mall off a highway exit. It's a two-level shopping complex in the Pittsburgh suburbs of Bethel Park and Upper St. Clair. Originally developed during the mid-1960s by Oxford Development Company, it was the first shopping complex in Greater Pittsburgh to be built as fully enclosed structure and was the largest in the region until the Monroeville Mall opened in 1969. The grand opening was held on July 28, 1965, with three anchor department stores, Gimbel's and Joseph Horn Company and Sears. For 6 decades, this place has been community fixtures. Families grew up here. Kids got their first pairs of sneakers here. Just outside the mall sits the AMC Classic South Hills Village 10th Theater, a detail that matters later. This mall has had its share of incidents. On August 16, 2018, a major fire sprinkler system pipe burst, causing a portion of the ceiling to collapse. No one was injured, but 10 stores in the affected area had to be closed temporarily, including the Apple Store and Victoria's Secret. That was a plumbing disaster. What happened in March 2026 was something else entirely, which we are discussing today. Every spring, Simon Property Group runs what it is called the Easter Bunny Photo Experience across its malls. At South Hills Village, the bunny arrived on Friday, March 6, and was scheduled to be there through April. Families book time slots, kids sit on the bunny's laps, photos get snapped. It's the kind of wholesome seasonal tradition that exists in hundreds of malls across the country. The person inside the costume is a real human being, a woman in this case, doing a job. She can't see well through the oversized head. She can't move fast. She can barely speak through the padding. She has an assistant right to her to handle communication, scheduling, and crowd control. That's the setup. And the vulnerability, the restricted sight, restricted movement is exactly what made her a target. According to the criminal complaint, the woman was taking pictures with the children and families on Monday when a man approached her and began to ask her questions, which she referred to an assistant. She did what she was trained to do. The bunny doesn't talk, the assistant does. But the man refused and began touching the woman dressed as the Easter Bunny's arm, then the top of her chest, and then grabbed her The assistant told police that at one point before the physical assault, Bera asked about who was inside the costume, saying, "Is it a boy or a girl?" Think about that question for a second. He wasn't asking out of casual curiosity. He was probing. He wanted to know the sex of the person underneath before he escalated his behavior. The assistant's answer or non-answer didn't matter. He had already decided what he was going to do. He also allegedly shoved his fingers into the nose and mouth of the bunny's costume head. It's one of the most telling parts of the entire incident. He wasn't just groping a person. He was physically manipulating the costume's face, poking at the eyes, the nose, the mouth, as if testing whether someone was actually inside. Or worse, as if it didn't matter whether someone was inside at all. Mall security showed police officers the security video that faced the Easter display, where police say you can see Bera touching the costume's head several times, then the chest area. The entire assault is on camera. This wasn't happening in dark corner. It was happening at the Easter Bunny display in suburban mall, surrounded by families in broad daylight. After allegedly dropping a woman in public costume in front of children and security cameras, Bera did not leave the mall. He did not run. He was later found in the AMC theater next to the mall and was asleep in the top row of one of the auditoriums. What a complete ignorant moron. He just came from outside after harassing a girl, harassing an Easter bunny right in front of everyone, even with cameras everywhere. This shameless bastard comes in and starts watching movie like it's 1950s, like there are no cameras, no accountability. Nowadays, if even a 1-second clip gets caught on the camera, you are busted. But he did that right the hell in front of everyone. That is exactly why I told you earlier that I thought he was high or intoxicated. Because these losers who are on drugs have no clue what's happening around them. They don't realize the police are right behind them or that they will get snatched up for the stupid bullshit they just pulled. There are cameras everywhere. How can someone be that stupid? Even the people committing crimes these days need to use some damn common sense. Isn't that what they are saying in movies? It is not a crime unless you get caught. Mall security used security video that faced the Easter display to identify the suspect. They traced his path from Easter Bunny area to the theater. When officers arrived at the AMC, they found him sleeping. He was woken up and confronted, and that's when things got bizarre. Police said he asked them whether the merchandise thing, the bunny, was located near 5 Below. After being read his Miranda rights, he allegedly asked if it was a doll. When told the victim was not a doll, he allegedly responded that his hand must have touched her by mistake if she was a lady. So his defense went through 3 stages. He thought it was a merchandise, then a doll, then only when told directly that a real woman was inside, a mistake. Every step on the way, he tried to strip the victim of her humanity. She's not a person to him. She's a thing near 5 Below. Alright, so after the whole investigation, this guy actually says that if he hadn't come here to watch a movie after all the shameless, disgusting behavior, he wouldn't have been caught. Just look at the audacity of this shameless bastard. He still feels no shame. He really thought that since he hadn't been caught yet, he could just walk in, watch a movie to keep his cover, and then just stroll out afterward. Even after doing something so goddamn cursed, how can you even think you'd get away with it? Look at the peak of this guy's shamelessness. He's out here blaming the movie instead of blaming his own filth. Bera, whose driver license carries a Jersey City address, was charged with indecent assault and harassment. The assault charge falls under Pennsylvania Statute 18 Act of 3126. Under this law, a person is guilty of indecent assault if the person has indecent contact with the accuser and does so without the accuser's consent. The legal definition of indecent contact in Pennsylvania, it means any touching of the sexual or either intimate parts of the person for the purpose of arousing or gratifying sexual desire. Under this statute, indecent assault without consent is graded as a misdemeanor of the 2nd degree, but that grading can escalate depending on aggravating factors, repeat offenses, and victim's age or the involvement of force. For context, in Pennsylvania, a 3rd-degree felony is punishable by the fine of $2,500 to $15,000 and up to 7 years in prison. Bera is locked up on $10,000 of bail in advance of an April 2nd initial hearing. As of reporting on 27 March, no attorney had publicly been identified as representing him, and no plea had been entered. There's a massive gap in the reporting on this case, and it's worth calling out directly. Not a single source addresses Bera's state of mind at the time of the assault. Was he intoxicated? Which I think he was, as I told you before. Does he have a documented mental health condition? These are standard questions in any assault investigation and the criminal complaint, at least as described in public reporting. The fact that the man grabbed a woman in front of security cameras, walked next door, and fell asleep in a movie theater raises obvious questions about the impairment and sanity of this person. None of the coverage touches it. Another question that comes to my mind, as this shameless bastard was walking away after doing such a disgusting act, how many floors does a mall have? Did nobody see him from the above? Did nobody standing below notice? Did anyone even try to stop him? How indecent and spineless can you people be? I'm talking to the people in the mall, and I am talking to the mall staff too. You saw such a shameless, filthy act happens to someone and you didn't go stop him, catch him, call the police, record a video. Sure, the cameras are there and they'll record it, but you should do something on your own too. The public has a responsibility. Fulfill your damn responsibility. Instead, you just let him walk away calmly and he just strolls into a movie theater and sits down in the top row. If you had caught him right then and there and everyone had given him a few slaps and good thrashing right in front of the cameras, it would have been settled. But you people just think whatever, it's his business. Man. That girl is someone's daughter, someone's sister. In my opinion, he should have been grabbed right there and handed over to the police immediately, or the security staff of the mall. Easter Bunny Photo Experience, the company that owns the mall and that manages the Easter Bunny Photo Experience, has not released a public statement about the assault. No comment on worker safety, no comment on security protocols, no comment at all. The people of South Hills didn't need a corporate statement to know how they felt. South Hills native Jen Herrick told reporters she couldn't believe this would happen at their local mall. After all, it was the Easter Bunny. She added that all kinds of people would have seen it, and if she had been there with her son, she would have been shocked. They would have gotten out of the line and left immediately. Another local, Logan Wells, told a TV channel that it was gross, and that kind of activity should not be happening in their township. Not at all. Not in anywhere in America. There's something deeper in these reactions than just disgust. The Easter Bunny is one of those things that belongs to kids. It is supposed to be safe, the way Santa is safe, the way a Disney character is safe, according to some people. When someone violates that, it doesn't just affect the victim, it contaminates the space of every parent who was in that line, every kid who saw a stranger touching the bunny, every family who now has to wonder what happened at the mall that day. What is real and doesn't require a trend piece to validate is that specific vulnerability of the person inside that costume, which you can't see. You are performing a character that isn't allowed to break, surrounded by children whose experience you are responsible for protecting, and your only line of defense is an assistant standing a few feet away who may or may not be able to physically intervene. Bera was identified by his New Jersey driver license. His preliminary hearing is set for April 2nd, 2026. No plea has been entered, no defense attorney has been publicly named, and the woman who was in that costume, the woman who went to work that Monday to take pictures with kids, and she remains what she was at the time of the assault. Invisible, inside a costume, and largely anonymous in the coverage that followed. Finally, as I close this case, my only question is that while all those cameras were rolling, why didn't you catch him right then and there? Why didn't you record a video of him at that exact moment when he was doing such disgusting things? This is the massive question we face at our own human level. We need to look at ourselves in the mirror and ask, should we have done something? That's all for today's case. I'll see you in another video. Until then, goodbye and good night.